Coming up in this Brightline construction update. This update looks at the track construction progress around City Point in February and March 2022, following the CP City Point cutover. City Point is located in Cocoa, Florida, southwest of the interchange of State Road 528 and US 1. In my last video, which you can see the link above, I covered the cutover of CP City Point, where the new signal system was activated and some of the tracks were realigned. Now here 3 days later, and the path the future main line to Orlando will follow has been cleared with the old CEMEX lead out of the way. The clearing work has reached and connected to the right-of-way coming through the Cocoa Tunnel. Sub-road beds still needed to be spread at this point. Ties for the Orlando Mainline had been laid as far as where the cutover had occurred several days prior. Here are some engineer eye views of the path. This is the derail that was installed in the CEMEX lead. When activated, any cars that would cross it will be derailed away from the main line instead of rolling onto the main line accidentally. About 2 weeks later, on February 26th, and sub-road bed had been laid along with more ties. Only one main line to Orlando is being built initially, but for a stretch here, a temporary siding is being installed that will be used by work trains when building the line to Orlando and to store cars on. Ties were laid as far as this excavator, as another turnout needs to be assembled here. The sub-road bed is laid all the way to the tunnel now. Here's a flight along the road bed and over the freshly laid ties. The temporary siding ends this turnout. Now 5 days later on March 3rd, rail has started being attached to the ties. I showed part of that happening in the link above. Ties were also laid for the second FEC main line to Jacksonville on the far east side. By this point, the second temporary turnout was being assembled here on the north side of the siding, and ties were laid up to the entrance to the tunnel. The Florida East Coast Railway's unit train was on the Cemex lead as it was in the process of being unloaded via remote control by Cemex. The first hopper behind the locomotive holds the remote control equipment, so any FEC locomotive can be used on this train. An electric flash butt welding truck had been working on the freshly installed rails and was driving away for the day here. The eventual second main line to Orlando comes to an end here at the end of this retaining wall for the time being, and will be used for maintenance away purposes until the rest of the second main line is built. The future look at this area is starting to come together, where 5 tracks will be in place here. 2 tracks for Orlando, the Cemex lead, and the 2 FEC main lines to Jacksonville. And now finally on March 15th, and rails attached to all the ties up to the tunnel. The tunnel is essentially the break between Zone 3 of the project, which runs from Orlando International Airport to here, and Zone 4, which are the upgrades on the Florida East Coast Railway from here to West Palm Beach. There are different contractors and construction contracts between the different zones, which is likely why the track laying currently ends at the tunnel. And here's one final engineer eye flight down the now assembled track. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also check out my social media pages.